if you don't have an AI use policy in your MSP, you're opening yourself up to some additional risk. If your clients don't have it, it's almost a bigger deal. Let me explain why. My name is Adam Hammond. Welcome to Ramblings of a Geek. I've been in the MSP space for a better part of a couple of decades, and I recently had the opportunity to talk to two of our best legal minds in the MSP space, Brad Gross and Tom Fafinski. Today, I'm going to talk a little bit about what we talked about then, kind of break down a couple of things, distill it down a little bit, and add a little bit of my own flavor to that conversation because there's more to cover here than what we were able to cover in that previous episode. So the first thing that you need to do and think about is your AI use policy for your own MSP. You need to have one. Your AI use policy needs to cover a number of things. It needs to cover what tools you're allowed to use, the data classification, like what's allowed to be put into the tools and what's not. So, what can you put in a free tool versus what can you put into a paid for tool, and what can you never put in any tool? Those things are really, really important to have. Because if you don't have that information and you're not making it very obvious, the minute somebody does something kind of rogue, it causes you some additional issues. You also need to understand where data lives. So if you're putting data in a tool, you need to understand that it goes in that tool and what does that tool have access to beyond just having the data put into it. And also, like what the new tool approval process is, right? You want your team just to be able to try any old tool out there and go with it? Or should there be an approval process? And what's the process if they go sideways and they try something that they shouldn't do? And like what does that look like for you? Because you want to be able to have answers to all of these questions, especially if something bad happens, because the more you're prepared for that potential bad thing happening, the better off you're going to be. And also, the more mature your organization is, because your clients, whether you want them to or not, are looking to you to be the AI thought leader for them, at least at some level. And if you don't have some of these things thought about and dealt with in your space, you are actually setting a bad example for your clients. So that's the last thing you want to do as well. I would also expect insurance companies at some point to require you to have some version of an AI use policy governing document in your space, because honestly, insurance companies hate risk. And if you're doing something or a thing changes in the industry, AI being a prime example, that comes in and creates additional risk for insurance companies, you bet your bottom dollar that they're going to be looking for some policies. So if you're out ahead of it a little bit, so much the better. And also, when you do this well and you understand it well enough for your own company, you then can use that thought leadership example and bring that to your clients as well, because an AI use policy that works for you, or at least the framework of that policy, should work just fine for your clients as well. So if you can use this in your own business, you can shift that learning to your clients and allow them to, basically have the benefit of having you as their MSP because you've thought about these important things and you're allowing them to learn from you. Now, the reality is with this AI use policy, you can do a lot of the general policy making through AI itself. Now, I'm actually going to drop a link to an example use policy in the description of this video. And the reality is that you should absolutely have this reviewed by a lawyer, especially because if you're going to hold your team accountable to it and potentially have your clients look at it. But the reality is that this policy is pretty straightforward, and it's one part of all the different pieces. Now, there is a potential for adding some language in your MSA about AI tools as well. And I will absolutely refer you out to your lawyers for that, right? And if you're looking for an MSP specific lawyer, I'll drop the links and names of those folks in the description of this video as well, because I think those are important pieces. But the reality is that you can get 80 to 90% there on your own with this one. It's not super crazy, but at the same time, again, not a lawyer. This is for educational purposes only. So, don't sue me if you use it and something bad happens. Anyway, that's the long and the short of the AI use policy as a general concept. Not only do I do these videos about once a week, I also do a newsletter about once a month. I'm going to drop the link on the screen and in the description of this video. Please join my newsletter. Now, the second thing is that you need to start having these conversations with your clients too, right? So I mentioned using that use policy, but I think it's more than just using a use policy with your clients. Your clients are looking to someone to fill the void of understanding what AI can do, shouldn't do, those kinds of things. If you aren't that person for your clients, they are going to look to somebody else for that. Or worse yet, they're just going to go do whatever they feel like they're going to do, and it adds all kinds of risk to them in their business. You don't want those things. So this is an opportunity for you to have good conversations with your clients. I actually helped an MSP not all that long ago who was looking for a presentation to give to one of his bigger clients because he didn't feel comfortable with that and they wanted an outside third party. And so I sat down, put together some slides, and we had a really great conversation around kind of the basics around AI, like what it's good at, what it's not good at, how it kind of works in a high level, just so that they understood what AI can do, can't do, should do, shouldn't do. Talk to them about the AI use policy a little bit. Talk to them about data classification. Data classification being one of the more important pieces, in my opinion, right? You could put this in any tool you want because it's public information versus you can only put this in tools that you pay for because you want it restricted versus that you never ever want in an AI tool, right? Like social security numbers, other PII related stuff. You don't ever want that in any of the tools, and it kind of swings back and forth. But every business needs to define that for themselves. And so we had a really good conversation around some of those pieces as well, because it was a really important thing for them to understand the AI landscape at a high level. So that way they could start making business decisions because they didn't feel qualified to be able to do that. Many of your clients think they know about AI now, and some do, but many don't, or they are fearful of it, or insert other feeling about it here. And it's your opportunity to educate them in a way that makes sense for their business, right? We want to step our way out of being the computer fix-it people. I mean, as much as I love fixing computers, because I still kind of do, if I'm starting an MSP today, I'm definitely leaning into the business side of the world more than the computer side of the world, because frankly, I'd much rather be the trusted advisor. And the trusted advisor is the one that comes and brings forth these conversations versus, hey, we need to replace some computers. And of course, you need to be doing both. But the reality is that if you can be that trusted business advisor and help them understand these concepts that are a little bit more foreign to them, so much the better for you and your clients as well. I am proud to say that this is my very first video that's sponsored by anybody, and it's sponsored by my wife's company, Nordic Sky. Nordic Sky is your bookkeeping for MSPs. If you are looking for a bookkeeper and you happen to be an MSP or another service company, please reach out to Nordic Sky. I'll drop the link in the description of this video as well. The next thing I want to talk about today is helping your clients vet tools, right? Your clients are looking for tools to use within their business for all kinds of different things. AI obviously is one of them, at least for some of your clients anyway. And so I want you to start thinking about helping your clients find the tools that work for them. This is kind of back to the age-old, how do you pick a tool for a client? How do you pick a tool for your own business? Because a lot of times people will just go like, well, this one seems like it's cool, and this one seems like it's cool. And you're kind of like sort of comparing them, but you're not really, because you're never matching these against your business requirements. So the first thing I want to encourage you to do is to understand your own and your client's business requirements. Because if you don't understand the problems that they're actually trying to solve, and you're just sort of comparing tools against some mythical, random, made up thing, list of things that maybe they want, the likelihood is that you're going to miss the mark on something. And so understand the business requirements first, and then vet the tools against those business requirements. I recently had an MSP come to me and say, hey, my client's asking me to help figure out what meeting tools they want to use, right? Obviously, if they're a 365 type of a business, you'd say, well, Copilot. Well, the minute you jump on a Zoom call or any other call that's not a Teams call, Copilot doesn't work, right? So what else can we use? What are the other meeting tools that we can use? And I said, okay, well, he was like, well, I don't really want to get into that. I said, well, time out. Why not? Yes, you should be careful about this, but you have an opportunity to solve a problem that your client is having within their own business, and you can look like the rock star to help them figure it out. I'm like, so go get their business requirements, go understand what's going on, go understand what the pricing that they're looking for, and understand all these different things and help them with that conversation. And reality is that if you're solving this for one of your clients, the likelihood is you can use the same learning for the next client, especially if you verticalize in any which way, shape, or form. So understand that if you do this well, you can leverage that learning and that research work in a number of ways. One, you should charge for it. Two, you can reuse it. And three, you can use it in your own business as well, right? Those are things that you can do right off the jump to help you help your clients. And everybody wins when this happens, right? Helping these clients solve their business challenges would be the thing that would help me get up every morning, right? What helps me get up every morning in my day job is being able to help MSPs, right? So the same kind of thing should work for you with your clients as well. So lean into some of those conversations, understand their business requirements. You already should understand their security requirements, and you could talk through them about pricing and those kinds of things and come up with a really good solution for them, right? That's a really, really cool thing to do. And frankly, probably a pretty fun part of the job. So if that's the thing that your clients are asking for, or maybe kind of dancing around, this is your time to say, hey, I can help. Let me help you figure this out, right? And raise your hand and say, I'm ready to help you with these kinds of conversations because this is a thing I'm good at. Even if you're not great at it, it's the thing you're good at. You can figure this stuff out, right? So lean into helping your clients out in all of these different regards. Teach them a little bit, help them with the policy a little bit. They should also have that looked at by their lawyer and help them find the tools that they're looking for, because reality is that if they're not getting help from you, they're getting help from somebody else. And the likelihood is that somebody else may also be an MSP. If they're asking another MSP for help about things that you could help them with, you might actually get replaced as the MSP, and that's not a place you want to be either. If you're getting some value out of this video, please do me a favor, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, comment on the video about how some of your AI stories, those kind of things. I'd love to have a little bit of interaction with you in this video as well. With all of that, lean into this AI stuff a little bit, help them with the policies, build some policies for your own company as well, because I think that's really important, and just help everybody out as you move forward. I'm going to link my AI playlist up over here because I think that's really important. And I'm going to link my legal playlist up over here as well, because I think both of those things might help you in your world. Thanks for coming on this travel with me, and I hope to see you on the next one.